Hi and welcome. So today I want to talk about my time in New Zealand. So in this part 1 I want to talk about the camp I volunteered and what my duties were and what I did the whole day. And in a second part I want to tell you what I did in my free time, where I went on holidays in New Zealand, and just how beautiful and amazing New Zealand is. I knew that I wanted to do a volunteer year after school, so I applied at different organizations. And there were super many, so I just applied at all of them, and this one which I actually got in is via e.V., and there I had to write a letter of motivation and all stuff, super many questions, answer them, and then I actually had to phone them, had a phone call with the organization in Germany, and after that another phone call with them in England, and then another one with them in New Zealand actually, but there they just told me which camps they have and where I can go and where not. And so all of that happened during half a year, I think, and then 2 months after the last phone call, I think, I actually got in and they told me I can go to New Zealand, they have a place where I can stay. And after that the camp in New Zealand, so that's Totara Springs Christian Centre, they wrote a letter to me and asked me if I want to go there. And of course I said yes, because that's a super cool opportunity and I really love this. So I think that was about 5 months before I actually flew to New Zealand. And after that we had a seminar where all the Germans that went to New Zealand, they met, and we had a seminar where we did different stuff. We learned something about New Zealand and just in the group to get to know the other people so that we could meet with them and then see them in New Zealand again. And so we had this for 2 weeks, and after that in July we took the flight to Auckland. So when we arrived in Auckland we had another 2-day seminar where they showed us a little bit New Zealand culture and Maori culture, and just got to know the language and the culture and everything. And after that on the Sunday everyone took the bus to their camp or their school where they went, and so I took the bus to Matamata, and that's the nearest town to where the camp was. And then Richard, the general manager, came and took me to camp, and then I spent the day with him and the family, and they showed me around camp, which was cool, so I got to know where everything was, and they showed me where I would live for the next year. And so the next day was my first work day at camp, and everything was super new for me. They started with a staff meeting where I got to know all the other people that work there, and then it showed me a little bit around, because the first 2 weeks I think I got there, there was no camp, and so no people were there. That was good to actually get to know what camp looks like, and just got to know everything. To describe a typical workday is actually quite hard for me, because it always depends on the groups that were there at camp. So there are school groups, there are sports camps, and there are also conferences, and just so many different groups that I can't really tell a typical day, but I try to. So if they're just school groups that come either for 3 days or for 1 week, so I would start in the morning, they have activities. So I was working as an instructor. That means they have lots of different activities, just like the hydro slide, the flying fox, rock wall, team rescue, and just so many more. And I was instructing them, so I was just standing there, welcoming the kids, and then talking a bit about safety, and then just enjoy the time with them while they do their activity. So they would have 1 in the morning, and then there's a little morning tea break, and after that another 2 sessions of activities before lunch. And in the afternoon again there are another, I think, 2 sessions of activities. And when I'm not instructing, depends on a Monday morning before the group actually comes, we have to set up all the activities, because there are some activities where you actually have to set up quite a few, like crate climbing. You have to set everything up so that it's ready when the school comes, or all the tables need to be set. And also on Friday evening or Friday afternoon when the school leaves, you have to clean up after them, clean up where they've been, and put the chairs back and forth, and just like all these different stuff. There are sports camps where they do all the different sports like soccer, volleyball or netball just all day long, and then you either sit there and score or just help them or whatever. So this is sports camps. That's mainly in winter. There are lots of sports camps where different schools compete against each other. And then there are also conferences where other people come and have conferences, and if they don't have any activities, you have to set up for them or bring them the dinner, lunch or breakfast, and just watch out that everything is going well and that they're having a good time. You need to check if the coffee is still there, for example. So before you're allowed to instruct an activity, you have to get trained on them. So it depends on what that activity is like. There are ones that you can get easily trained on and other ones that are rather difficult. And so you have to get trained, you have to be there certain sessions, and after you've done that and you've instructed on your own, you have the assessment in the end, and once you have finished this assessment, you are actually now allowed to instruct them on your own. So throughout that whole year I lived at camp, so I had a little room for myself with a toilet and a tiny little kitchen. So I lived there, which was super cool, a super big room, it was super nice. And I got all the food from there, so I could either take something, and I mostly had breakfast at my place, and then I had lunch and dinner from the campus, what the campus had. So we had a staff kitchen where we ate, but I mostly got the food out of there. So in the mornings they would have either cereals, or what's different to Germany, they'd have something hot like spaghetti or baked beans. But they'd also have pancakes, which were super cool. And at lunchtime they had like burgers or mac and cheese or something. And in the evening they'd cook something like spaghetti bolognese or like super many cool stuff, and it was always good. There were always lots of vegetables, which was super nice. So Rockwell was one of my favorite activities at camp, and there at the beginning you had to instruct all the adults that were there to learn how to belay. So I wasn't actually belaying, I was just watching all the others, and the parents had to belay. And it was sometimes actually hard to see whether they're good or not, because they have the children which are up there and which could fall down, so it's quite hard to see whether they're good or not, whether you should watch them further or whether they're fine. And yeah, once you've done that, all the kids can climb up, and it was always super cool because there was one lane which was overhanged, and all the kids always wanted to try this one because it's one of the hardest ones, and it was just super fun watching them. And yeah, not really many got to the top, but it was always cool to see how far they got. And another really cool activity was crate climbing, and yeah, some kids was super cool to get like up right, like super close to the roof. They had like 30 crates, which is amazing. And what was also super cool is that I actually could try all the activities as well. So every now and then I would do crate climbing, I would go rock climbing, or I would go on the hydro slide, and it's just super fun to try all the activities yourself. Because when you instruct them and you don't really know what to do or how it would feel like if you're there crate climbing up the top and it's all wobbling, it's super cool to try them out yourself. And this is what I love, that I could try them every now and then. Another cool time was at family camp at Top Town, where the instructors built a team, and then they had to do the whole Top Town stations, and then they set a time, and then all the families had to beat the instructors. So it was super cool to do all the activities yourself and then see how good the others are. The instructing team I worked with was super cool, and we were about 10 people, and yeah, the boss was super nice and friendly and always relaxed, and all the other staff were super cool, and it was just like a big family, this whole camp and all this stuff, which was super nice to work with. So always when a new school group came, they asked questions, and they always had to guess where it come from, and it was super cool. They said so many different countries, And what was also cool, they sometimes guessed my age, and it was just so funny. Some said I'm just like 8 or 10 years old, and up to 50 or 60. And it was always super fun asking them questions and answering and all that. So all in all, it was a really super cool experience to be away from home for 1 year and to volunteer in an outdoor camp. And I just learned so many different things, like I got better in English, I learned how to work with children and to stand in front of a group of children and to tell them what they need to do. And I got more confident, and I just grew myself. And that was a super amazing experience, and anyone who wants to do it, I really recommend it. So if you have any further questions, ask them down in the comments, and next time we'll see you at part 2 about traveling in New Zealand. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and see you next time.